guys, welcome back to Bumpin' the Mic. Here we're going to cover all things paranormal, supernatural, and downright weird. Now, today we actually have another personal story, and this one comes from Gregory. So if you wouldn't mind taking it.
That's right. And this comes from a storied history of like my growing up in this town. Okay, so there's a building in the town that was constructed in like the late 1800s as a public school building. Okay, it's actually it's the oldest school building that's still standing in my state here today. It was a school building until like the mid like 1970s. Like it went a long, like almost 100 years as a public school, and then it got converted into like a community center type deal. So there's like a daycare in there, there's offices, there's public gyms, and there's an auditorium in there, like a theater where people can host plays or do small concerts, that type of thing. So really old building, but growing up, I heard all of these stories about this place being just haunted. Okay, I heard stories about like early 1950s, 60s, there was an English teacher teaching her class on the third floor of this building, had a heart attack and died. They didn't reuse the classroom, but the night janitor would go in after that happened and just be cleaning, the general area of the rest of the buildings and hallways, and would hear chairs moving around in that room as if somebody was rearranging the furniture. Um, and there no
How many
no
times did he go to clean that room?
yeah, I mean, I would imagine he would have quit shortly after that, right? Because it
Yeah.
was like a non-designated classroom at that point. But there
Hmm.
were stories like that. Like I heard stories from my parents about this place. That was one of them. I heard another story because there's a pool in the basement. It's empty now, and as far as I understand, it actually had drainage issues when it was built, so it's empty. It was never actually used as a pool. I heard they like filled it up once or twice. It was draining all weird, caused some foundation issues, so they just drained it all the way and never filled it up again. But I heard that one day, like it was like a teacher or some staff member was staying up or staying there late, finishing up, schoolwork or grading papers or what have you, and they brought their kid in and were letting their kid ride their tricycle around inside because the hallway, it's a school building, hallways are pretty wide, right? There's a lot of them.
Hmm.
Um, so the story goes that this kid took their bike to the basement and rode around the pool, fell in and drowned, and that's why they drained it and never used it again. I don't know
Hmm.
what, like the drainage issue seems more plausible to me, but I had heard about the girl on the trike, and I have heard people say that if you go in there after dark, you can hear tricycle wheels like eek, 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 coming from the basement.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's like a plethora of little stories like that. The auditorium is said to be haunted as hell. People go in there to this day and say that there's like a dark, heavy presence there. Um,
Hmm.
the hallways smell of like rose perfume. Sometimes people have reported.
Is that
I've
from
actually,
something, or is that like they don't know where
yeah,
that's from?
they can't tie it to anything. It's interesting because there's like a paranormal, like an amateur paranormal investigator group in that area that actually went in and did an investigation into this. They stayed overnight with like the building manager, walking them through all this stuff, and they
Hmm.
found that they have like a medium that goes with them, like a spiritual medium,
Okay.
and she claimed to hear some sort of like a nice spirit in there talking to her.
Huh.
And there
Like, could she understand it, or is it was it kind of just like it felt nice, but she was just hearing voices?
it was like a child's voice. She said it was like a friendly child spirit in like the grand lobby of this building that spoke to her and said, like, quote, "You're so brave," end quote.
Hmm.
This is in the dead of night anyway, right?
I don't
Um,
guess that could relate to that tricycle incident because
it sure could, who knows? Because my best guess is that like that pool was probably never used and people had just heard a bunch of stories about this place being haunted, and so they just threw made this one up and threw it in the mix to add to the legend, so to speak. I don't know, like I tend to base my belief on like edge on the side of like the most logical and then expand from there, right?
right.
But then I went into the civic center at night one time. and I'll never go back. Okay. So um, similar to my last story, I was doing like a security type job, and the civic center was one of the places we used to go to frequently for alarms and stuff. So it's really windy in this town, right? So if a door blows a little bit, it can mess up the sensors on the door, and we get an alarm.
Hmm.
And it's like I said, it's pretty windy here, so we'd get those types of alarms all the time. And it comes in as a burglar alarm. Whatever door it is, say front lobby door. So we'd go check it out. It was almost always the wind blowing the door, which trips the sensors. But occasionally, like the doors would be left unlocked, like the janitors would forget to lock up or what have you. So we'd go
Okay.
in and make sure nobody was in the building, right?
Hmm.
99 times out of 100, there was nobody in the building. The wind set off the alarm. Everything was fine.
Right.
So that there's a complacent attitude that you can see, right? Like we're like, oh, this again. Okay, let's go check it out. Anyway, one time we went in there, and we did our thing, right? So there's like 4 levels, including the basement. There's the basement, the main level where all the entry doors are, then a second floor, then a third floor. The second and third floor are like empty old classrooms and in use offices for various businesses. The
Mhm.
first floor is where like the public gymnasiums and stuff are, and the auditorium. And then there's an entrance into the auditorium on the second floor also because it had balcony seating, right?
Okay.
So anyway, we're going through, everything's fairly normal, right? One of the doors was unlocked. We're like, all right, let's just do a quick walkthrough. It's dark in there, emergency lighting. So we're using our flashlights to check things out. We go into the theater area, and it's separate, like from the main building area through, because of a set of several sets of doors, right? Double doors that close. And so you can lock the theater separately if people are working in there, or setting up for some play, and other people can still use the rest of the building, right? But
Mhm.
anyway, the theater doors were locked, um, except for down one hallway that gets you into the backstage area, where all the costumes and stuff are. And that door was unlocked. So we're like, okay, let's just go in there real quick. We'll check it out. And we go in there, and we're immediately going up some small steps to go to the backstage area, and there's costumes everywhere, and you're like, oh, somebody could be hiding in the costumes. And we're like messing with the costumes.
Yeah.
um but everything's good. So we come out from backstage, and we're on like the main center stage now, right? So we're looking out amongst the main floor seating, and then you can see the balcony seating on the second floor there, which takes up about half the spaces the main floor does, right? Because they got lights and
Mhm.
stuff attached to it. Anyway, so I'm like shining my flashlight on the main area, just looking in the chairs, don't see anything. Okay. Move up, go to the balcony area. Okay. I'm shining my light, just empty chairs, empty chairs. There's a kid, empty chairs. There's a kid. And I'm looking at this probably 13-year-old boy that's standing in the middle of the balcony seating, standing up. He's got a yellow, or a blue and yellow striped polo shirt on, pale face, and he's just staring at me and my partners that were there, because we're not going to clear a building by ourselves.
Didn't say anything. He's just staring at you.
He's just staring, right? And we're looking, and as soon as I do that double take, because again, complacency, like there's a kid there. Hey, kid, what are you doing here? Where's your parents? You're not supposed to be in here. Like we're challenging him, and he's just staring, just blankly at us, right? Not moving, just standing there, staring at us. So, my two partners that I was there with, we come up with this plan. They're like, "Hey, Gregory, you stand here with your light, keep an eye on them. We'll go out the main doors and go up the side, or the stairways, to get to the second floor entry into that balcony. And there's 2 sets of doors in that balcony, right? So you can come in on the left side, you can come in on the right side, and there's no other way to get in that balcony.
Oh, so
So,
it's like only you can go up, but there's no other way out.
right, yeah, there's just two doors that exit that balcony area and going into the main building. So, and that's it. Otherwise, you're just jumping over the balcony into the main area, right? So
Okay.
I'm shining my flashlight at this kid, and I'm trying to talk to him like, "Hey, man, where's your parents? What's going on? Why are you here? Did you get locked in?" Trying to figure this out, and he's just staring, like creepy as hell. So my buddies
Like
go
just
up,
just a deadpan stare, or like
100% deadpan, absolutely no
okay.
movement, nothing, just staring at me.
Okay.
My buddies exit out the main auditorium and then go up those flanking stairwells to enter the balcony. Okay. So I see them come up the stairs and come to those two doors, the only two doors that go up there. And as soon as I see their silhouettes on the other side of the door, this kid just like shrinks like this. He just goes straight vertical down behind the seats now, so I can't see him.
Did he like duck, or was it almost like he was like on an elevator?
It was like he was on an elevator, just like straight down. So I'm like, I'm getting freaked out at this point. So at exactly that same time, my buddies come in the doors. I'm like, hey, he just went down. He's still right there. Okay. So they're walking down the aisles to get to where he was. And they're looking on the floor and down the seats and stuff to make sure they're not missing anything. And they get to where he was, and there's nothing there. There's no kid. There's no evidence of a kid there. There's no movement in the dust, in the air, or scent of, a 13-year-old kid at all. Okay. So then they go
there's
ahead.
like
Sorry.
no way out, is what you're saying. So there's
They
nowhere this
were
kid could
at
go.
the only ways out, dude, because it's like the two aisles go to those two doors, and that is it.
And I
Those
feel like
doors
you would
didn't
have seen it
open.
if he jumped over a
100%.
chair or something.
100%. And those doors didn't open until they came in. And now they're in the aisles walking towards where the kid was, right? So there's no way he could have got back past them without them seeing him. So they get to where he was. He's not there. They go in front of him, like there was like two rows of seats in front of him. They search those two to make sure he didn't go under some seats or something. And he's not in that balcony at all. It's like he was never there. But we all saw him. So I leave the stage, go out, meet them at the landing of the stairs as they're coming down. And we leave. Like, like, I can't tell you with any accuracy how fast we left that building. Like, you would need like one of those super high-speed cameras that you use to track bullets traveling downrange to see how fast we actually moved out of that building. And like, what are we gonna do, right? So we leave, and then we just log in that narrative for that call that everything's good, didn't see anything here, because who's gonna believe that?
Right.
It was just us. And that was the last time I ever went into that building. Now, what's interesting, I will never go back into that building at night. I shouldn't say it was the last time I've been in that building, because I have been in there during the day since. I don't like being in that building, but I have been in the day. I will not go back at night. I had a coworker recently tell me, she just texted me out of the blue, because she had taken her kids to one of the public gyms in that building, like during the day or whatever. And I got a text, because I've told the story to everybody. So she texts me and she's like, hey, what did that kid look like that you saw that night? And I'm like, yeah, it was a 13-year-old boy with a blue and yellow striped polo shirt. And she's like, okay, cool. Because my daughter keeps pointing up in the rafters of the gym asking, who's that boy? And I look up there, and this is from her, and there's nobody there, but she's fixated on the rafters asking, who's that kid? Who's that boy? So I was just wondering if it's the same boy, because we left too. It's not great.
Yeah, I know we had some experiences there.
Yeah.
That building's a little crazy.
It's interesting, because before that experience for me, I had similar, not similar at all, but I had other experiences there that creep me out, and I'll address those or talk about them on a later time or whatever. But after this incident with that boy, I started digging into the history of the building. Like, I knew it was old, right? But I found out that in addition to it being the oldest public school building in our state, that when they built it originally, it was on top of a graveyard, and they had to remove graves and bodies to lay the foundation to that building originally. So, that doesn't seem like a great place to build a school. You know what I
Now that
mean?
sounds similar to like a house I lived in once, which I'll tell that story eventually. But it was like the last house built in a community, and they removed a Civil War burial ground to build the
Oh
house on top of
God.
it, which wasn't all that smart either. So I was like, stop moving
No.
graveyards and just
Yeah.
stop.
Let's let them have their rest for
Yes,
eternity and just leave it be.
absolutely.
Because this is where shit starts, right? Is when you're disturbing shit like that.
Absolutely. But it is a super interesting building, and thank you for
It
our story. And you did bring up a good point earlier. What was that you were saying? Like if we hit the 100 subscriber mark, that we'll do
I
a
already know where
live
this is going,
video.
and I'm going to stop you right there before you make promises you cannot keep.
All right, guys, chat. Let's do it. Let's hit that. Let's get some subscribers in here, and we have got to talk this guy into doing a live in the Civic Center so you guys can actually see this building, because it is creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
I would be happy to be on live with you when you go in there, and I'll wait outside for moral support. Like I'll talk to you, I'll engage, I'll even direct you to that stage where I saw that kid. I'm not going back in that building.
Guys, it's up to you to change his mind.
This thanks for joining us for the last episode ever of Bumping the Mic.
Uh, all right, guys, thanks for joining us, and please subscribe and join us on this journey. And if you've got any stories like this, supernatural, paranormal, weird, like something didn't make sense, shoot it out to the email. Or you can direct message us on TikTok, YouTube. We've got a couple different emails you can send your stories to. We would absolutely love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.